That's where we want.
I really. I feel like hasn't changed anything.
Yeah.
These tariffs.
These tariffs. Ooh-wee.
Technically, this comes out after 4th of July.
Technically.
What are you doing for 4th of July?
I don't know.
How do you not know?
Well, see, I said...
this weekend? Like coming up?
So this is what happened. I told my wife that I want to start to create like structure and memories because as we look to like start a family, one of the things that I look back on in my life is that I don't have really fond memories of things like 4th of July or New Year. Well, New Year's I do, but holidays, different events because of the inconsistency in my life. Like I would be with my mom this year. I'd be with my dad this year. I'd be with my mom this year. But then it was like, oh, it's back and forth and back and forth. But it wasn't always back and forth. It would be like, oh, one special circumstance and I would have to do this one thing. Or, you go to that, family Thanksgiving that's normally at one person's house, but one year you decide to do it at so-and-so's house because of the renovations or whatever. She's sick or he's sick. Cool. Well, when you're every other year with different, that could be 3 years before you're in the same house for Thanksgiving.
Right.
And so my parents used to say, oh, well, we always go to so-and-so's house. And I'm like, news to me.
Right.
Like I don't have that core memory. And some of my core memories are from things like 4th of July at the Carroll County Farm Museum or New Year's Eve. I remember in my mom's house. I don't know what we did when I was at New Year's Eve at my dad's house. So I wanted to start to create those memories, but I lost the war this year. So maybe next year.
What's the outcome?
I don't know. I was like, oh, let's go to Washington and, bicentennial. Is that what it is?
Like
250th? Is that the bicentennial? No, that would be 200th. Bicentennial plus 50 years.
Sure.
I just thought it'd be cool. Like, obviously, we're doing a lot celebrating, 250th year. Obviously, Baltimore is going to be amazing. I know Frederick's got a lot planned. So for me, it was like, I didn't really care what happened.
Right.
But I wanted to make a plan, and I don't think we have a plan.
Yeah.
Wagging my finger at my
I really
wife.
wanted to go, well, first off, my July 4th activities tend to be the same every year. Going to my family's house down in Southern Maryland. We just have crabs. There's a pool. They'll do fireworks and stuff.
Is that what you're doing this year?
Yeah, more than likely. But now that you mentioned that there's like stuff going around in Baltimore for 250, I kind of want to get into that because I missed the Sail 250 event this weekend with the boats, the planes, and everything. And I thought that was really cool from some of the footage and pictures that I'd seen.
Yeah, there's a lot. Like, I think it's funny. Today, I was, playing the tough child, right? Like, comparing Baltimore to San Diego, right? And of course, there's a lot of negative that you can throw at Baltimore, but there's a lot of really amazing experiences when we have these events. And I don't want to say Sail 250 is the same, but when we have Fleet Week, you bring the big ships up the harbor. Like, that is super cool. We have the Blue Angels fly over pretty constantly, not every year, but pretty constantly.
Yeah. I mean, even if we classify Annapolis as that, I'm pretty sure there's some sort of Annapolis air show almost every year.
Almost every year. And then the Annapolis Yacht Show.
Yeah,
and then,
but
even things like the Farm Museum in Carroll County, like, it doesn't sound like something that's that big of a deal, but it is very unique that you don't get in other markets.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of something like, is San Diego known for anything?
Beautiful sunny skies and beaches. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm making it up.
I'm just trying to figure out what would like Baltimore be known for, because like
The Wire. That's what all my friends
exactly,
say.
Exactly.
That's what all my friends say.
But I wish there were more things like Sail 250 or like these big events that bring so many people together downtown, which I feel like I think the true problem. It's like I don't say once a quarter, but it's very, very rare we have something as cool as Sail 250, as cool as...
I mean, Fleet Week's pretty cool.
No, I get it. But, like, how often does that happen?
Once a year at best.
Right. And so, like...
Yeah.
You have...
The real problem, I think, is that we're overshadowed, right? Anything that's cool that's happening in Baltimore is then happening in D.C., right? And we're not talking about the same thing all the time. But, like... Nobody's bringing the large ships to Baltimore, and I don't know this for a fact, so like yell at me if I'm wrong, but nobody's bringing the large ships into the Baltimore harbor and not taking them to New York Harbor or not taking them to Philly or not taking them to, I don't know, wherever the next harbor might be. But we're getting ships from other countries around the world, like Britain and China, and like maybe not China. I don't know. That's a really cool thing. And I don't think that it's exclusive to Baltimore. I think they're going from city to city to city. And so that might be like you're asking, like, what is it known for? I don't know.
I wish there was some exclusivity with some of these things because, again, like what I've seen from the Sale 250 just seems so cool. And so many people went downtown by the water all across, whether it's Canton, Fells Point, Federal Hill, Locust Point, like all around there. It just seems so lively this weekend. It was really cool to see. I wish
I could hear the flyover from my open house in Essex.
Really?
It was like loud enough that I stepped outside, but the skies were kind of gray, not like total cloud cover, but dark enough that I couldn't see. Yeah. I could hear them going over, and it would be,
Well, they had the Blue Angels. They had
the French Blue Angels.
Yeah, which are like the red, I think, or
I have no idea.
They had like British or something like that, like Britain.
Did they?
Planes. Yeah, they had 3
I didn't even
sets.
know that.
They had Blue Angels, the Red Planes, and some other ones.
Love that.
But nonetheless.
So you're going down to
Samedi.
Yeah. You're going to go to Chesapeake Beach?
No, our family's house in Dunkirk. They got a pool. We'll do fireworks, crabs.
You'll do fireworks yourselves?
Yeah, they'll do them.
Like cousin Kenny is going to like light off his hand kind of thing?
Yeah, in the backyard.
Got it.
Yeah.
We've done that before, but it's not the same. Not the same.
I don't know. When I was a kid growing up, I always loved going to fireworks stores. My grandma would take me and I'd just buy a whole bunch of illegal fireworks and bring them back to Maryland.
Yeah.
And then I'd just be outside.
We've done that a bunch, and it is a lot of fun. My brother really enjoys doing it. It would be something that I would love to bring back. However, it takes an immense amount of work. Like, you have to drive there, you have to gather the fireworks, you have to keep them safe, drive them back. Of course, they're not cheap, but then you have to handle them. Then someone has to oversee my brother because, he can't be trusted with fire. And that's not a joke, in case anybody's wondering. I'm not like picking on my brother. One year he like knocked over a firework that like launched into the box of the other fireworks. It was a little bit catastrophic for a little while, but nobody got hurt. But
those are the videos you see on like Baltimore News 9 or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, oh man.
Fortunately, nobody got hurt. But
that's good.
Anyway, so if you've been paying attention to the news, you guys know that there's been a lot of tariffs and I'm just calling it imposition over political ties with other countries. Let's just leave it at that. The ripple down effects are impacting everything, and it's starting to show up in new construction. It's not showing up today, so we don't see the impact today, but we see the predictor today. What we see a lot right now are new home construction builders that are trying to leverage and hedge their bets by leveraging their financial to carry the cost of a home and encourage that turn, because they need new people to move in so that they can afford to build the next one, so they can afford to finance the deals and keep the guys employed and develop the land that they already have contracted. And tariffs are really dramatically impacting that. So wanted to talk about that for a little bit. I mean, how do you feel that tariffs will impact or are impacting your business today?
I think we do new construction, right? Like, it's not uncommon for us to help a buyer through that process. I don't really think it's changed anything that we've really seen or gone through. Mm-hmm. I think there is a interesting dynamic when you look at new construction versus, residential homes that are already built. I think new construction has a tendency to always go up in price for purchasing. Mm-hmm. This has nothing to do with the tariffs, what I'm about to say, but then the resale value isn't as great in the community later on.
Right.
But the builders, they base everything off of like demand, how much they're selling. Yeah. And then they jack up the prices for the second round of people, then the third round of people. I mean,
you're right.
Up, right?
So phase one construction purchasers have the lowest entry to the community.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
And how have tariffs impacted that? I don't know. We do a couple new construction deals throughout the year, but I don't know. I remember last year when all this stuff was really being talked about, people were like, oh my God, this is going to be the end. Like, everything's going to get so expensive. And when I got to buy, even for our clients that were looking at residential homes that have been built for a very long time, I remember getting comments like, oh my God, this washing machine or this dryer or this fridge is now going to go up $4,000. And I'm like, that is incredibly unrealistic.
Right.
You know, even with all the talk of the tariffs. And I mean, it was real conversation we're having, but to answer your question, I don't think it's really impacted anything that we do on a day-to-day basis. It's just kind of something that I guess is like out there. I don't think as a buyer, I'd let it affect me at all. Going to purchase a home.
I will give you guys a tidbit that before the end of this, I'm going to drop a fear. I don't want to fear monger people, but I want to explain kind of what new home builders will do to hedge the bet against the inflated costs that they're seeing right now. But I'm curious if you've seen specific communities that are starting to feel new construction waving through. Like if you can think about Waldorf, right? Waldorf saw new construction wave through that maybe 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's continuing to grow.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing so much on 301.
But like the next community, I feel like there are some areas down there that maybe the impending development is kind of like thwarted and not breaking ground. Have you seen that at all? Or like, hey, there's this big vacant lot that looks like it should be developed that's not?
I don't want to say big vacant lots that are not being developed, but I feel like the turnaround time for some of these new construction communities is a little bit slower. And I don't think they're performing as well from a consumer standpoint after purchase. Like post-purchase value, post-purchase performance.
Value increase, you mean?
Yeah. And so like from a builder's perspective, they're just worried about, burning and turning, getting the deal done.
Right.
I would say there's probably a little bit of a slowdown with some of them depending upon location, right? And for our dynamic, I mean, we're going to be I don't want to say running out of room, but like we can only build so many new construction homes.
Yeah.
And so I don't know.
Interesting question here. Is there an argument that tariffs on construction materials may actually help existing homeowners? Like, does it protect the value of their home by limiting the competition of supply? So if you think about it, you've got a $450,000 homeowner. Now the new construction home that's down the street that might have been $525 might now be, I don't know, $550 or $600 or $650 or whatever the cost may be. Is that helping the the existing homeowner at $450?
I'm going to say yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to say a majority of the time yes. I don't know if there's a direct correlation. Like, yes, this property is bringing up your value or is going to be the reason you're sold. But I tell you, a lot of the time when you line up some of these new construction properties, and we can take them all across Maryland. I mean, even Frederick has a whole bunch of like newer construction homes. And a lot of people tend to go to the ones that were built in the 80s, the 90s. Yeah. Those sorts of townhomes. And I think that those townhouses do kind of, I don't say directly feed on the values of those other new construction in the area. Yeah. But those other new construction, because they're at such a higher premium, your next best option, I think, is going to be slightly more elevated because there's a margin between the two. And if that's your next option and no one's buying the new construction, either for resale or current, why not charge a little bit more of a premium? Even if it's not a premium, I think about it in this way. If a new construction home was just over the value of my existing construction home, why would a buyer not spend a little bit more to get that new construction home? Right. But if that new construction home increases and now is significantly more, maybe that buyer can no longer afford. Maybe there's two buyers that can no longer afford. And all of a sudden the competition for my existing home gets a little bit stiffer. Maybe we're not increasing the price, but we're affirming the value that we have today. Really, what I think new construction is doing for any buyer is providing comfortability. Just in what way? In terms of, hey, your appliances, hey, your roof is all brand new. Like all of this stuff is new. Most builders will also give you a warranty, right? However, you pay a premium a lot of the time with new construction communities for builder grade crap. And I don't say crap in a negative way, but like you're getting builder grade cabinets, you're getting everything builder grade. There's nothing special about your oven. There's nothing special about your floors. Like it's all, you get 3 selections in their office, right? So you're not getting anything, I don't say with character, but like there's nothing special, right? And I toured a Rogers Forge townhome earlier, and granted that's so not new construction at all, right? But a very relevant community. It's always been equitable and grows in the market. But the character that thing has, the hardwood floors, what they've done to the bathrooms, the basements, like it speaks to people so differently rather than going to pay maybe even a little bit more of a premium for that new construction home and just getting builder grade stuff.
Yeah.
And I think...
So you're talking quality of materials.
Quality of material, but also like even down to this thought process. Like I can show a client 2 properties. One can be a new construction-ish type home and one can be one that's already been built. And the new construction home will be nice, shiny, and sexy and cool, right? Mm-hmm. But then you go into one that feels like home, and we'll just use the Rogers Forge one I was at today.
Yeah.
A lot of the time people go to the one that feels like home.
Interesting. Yeah, I think there's an allure to the new construction, and at every price range, right? Like even if we're talking about 1.5 million, 2.5 million, there's an allure to this new construction. There's something about like it's brand new, and it's something very American. It's very, I don't want to say entitled, but it's very American. Like, oh, I want to own it from brand new. There's this idea that like if you get a car that's a one owner purchaser prior to you, it's like, man, that's special. Yeah. And I think there's something about buying that new construction that just inherently feels better. But there's something equally valuable about walking into a house and just like smelling like a house and understanding that the settlement has already happened and the cracks have already been filled and the problems have already been taken care of. And now you're walking into something that someone has maintained.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I also look at the new construction. A lot of people, I think their perspective of it is they can defer maintenance.
Mm-hmm. Because I think that's everybody's perspective on housing in general, but
I would agree.
One person's opinion.
Like everyone's like, oh, it's brand new, so I don't have to take care of my house.
Yeah.
So then 4, 5, 10 years later down the line, you see all the imperfections of 10 years of not caring for a home. You know?
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people lean on new construction for that, but I don't know. I just don't. I don't like new construction. It doesn't. How you were saying Goose doesn't do anything for you?
Okay.
New construction does not do anything for me, man. It can,
something to share with you guys. New construction builders are starting to do this, where they're financing their own renovations, they're financing their own resales, they're financing their own buyer purchasing. So what we're talking about here is they're giving buyers what we would say is artificially inflated or deflated, depending on how you look at it, interest rates. I had a buyer come to me today with one. If I buy this house, it's only 3.99% interest. Well, that sounds really great. And why would that be a problem? Well, you mentioned it earlier, right? The challenge is that when I'm coming in at 3.99%, I can still only afford whatever I have in my pocket, whatever my debt to income ratio qualifies me for. So if my debt to income ratio qualifies me for a $6,000 a month purchase or a $3,200 a month purchase, well, that's what my debt to income ratio is going to buy me. Right. Well, if I lower the rate, I can sell a buyer. I can give a borrower an FHA loan or a conventional loan at a 3.99% rate. Well, the rate just came down, but now I can charge more for the home. Right. And so now all of a sudden the builder has a higher contracted purchase price. And yeah, they're not getting all the luxury of a 6, 7, whatever percent interest rate, but they're financing that 3.99, and then when the borrower pays the house off through refinance or resale, the builder gets paid. Yeah. And they get paid at a premium. So where it seems attractive because builders are willing to offer really low rates, I'm going to encourage you, when builders are offering low rates, there's a reason for it. When builders are offering free build outs, free basements, free rooftop deck, free, deck addition to your home, now the builder's trying to provide value in a competitive marketplace. Yeah. If we're beyond that, we're no longer trying to provide value in a competitive marketplace. We're saying, hey, we'll give you a low rate. That's the only way we can compete. Well, they must be charging you a premium in product. So where these tariffs are impacting us is the builders are saying, hey, I know this is coming down the pike. I need to make sure I secure the higher price point so that I have the higher comp because I'm going to need it because the tariffs are going to increase my construction cost. So I'm going to need the higher comparable if I'm going to sell this home. So I'm going to have to put my money where my mouth is and swallow a low rate for a short period of time. And that's what builders are doing. They're giving adjustable rate mortgages. They're giving non-prime loans. I hate to say that. That's probably a little bit mean for what it is, but it's a great way to enter into a new construction property. But without a long-term exit strategy, it can be a real problem for a buyer. This is the same thing we talk about with CHAP Rehab in Baltimore, where we've got a really amazing product. The house is amazing. The community's amazing. It's been done at the highest regard for professionalism and construction in today's world, but the buyers are paying a ultimate premium in price. And when that CHAP rehab goes away 10 years later, who benefits? Well, the builder got their money. And now we're struggling to make any profit on our investment.
And I look at it as like, if you have to, I'll say if you have to, but you use the CHAP tax as a incentive to purchase. Let's say that CHAP tax goes away. Could you truly afford it? And then let's say you stay in it for the 10 years and you go to sell this property. Well, if you can't afford it and you're the ideal buyer, like the next ideal buyer can't, right? So like, yeah, there's some sexiness to it and you'll save money with the CHAP tax savings, but you have to look at the pros and cons.
Yeah.
There's something interesting here. With first-time home buyers, when they come to you, are they having as much new construction conversation with you? And like, what are you telling them between new construction and then residential homes that are already in existence?
Well, this is the piece that we're talking about today, because I have a buyer that's doing this. She's looking in like the $500,000 to $600,000 space. There's a new construction builder that's starting at $640,000. It's like, well, this is going to be great because they're offering 3.99%. Yeah, this could be great. But in 5 years, your adjustable rate kicks in, and what's it going to look like then? What's your equitable position going to look like then? And so I think this is where being a real estate agent is so much more than opening doors and helping people make a contract. It's actually providing value and knowledge into the future. And hey, what's your goal? Is your goal to live here for a couple of years and break even? Cool. If your goal is to build equity, this might not be the best fit for you.
So here's a question then. You know, let's bring up 2008 just for a moment for some context. Bad lending. Bad lending practices. Just bad. Stop that. You know. Is there a world where this, I don't want to say crosses a line of ethics, but let's say these new construction builders are trying to push these adjustable rate mortgages. So then when that rate kicks in, the buyers have to refinance and then the builder gets paid then. That it almost
it's the plan. I don't think it's bad lending. I don't think it's bad lending. I think it's ingenious marketing.
Do you think in a court's eyes or like a general public, do you think that is bad or unethical?
No. I honestly think that people need to educate themselves. This goes back to the whole thing of like, oh, I can do it myself. I don't need a real estate agent. I agree. You don't. And I would help anyone buy a house themselves without using me. But the principle is that where a real estate agent comes to value is to start to expand your mind into these conversations, right? Before you do this, let's look at your exit strategy. Let's look at what this looks like in 10 years. How does this compare to property X? And in the end of the day, if you want a Louis Vuitton instead of something a little bit more affordable where you can invest in your retirement, shoot, you work for your money, let's buy it.
Right.
But if we're not having that conversation and we're not talking about all of the options and all we're doing is walking you through the door, what good are we?
Right.
But genuinely and honestly, do I think it's a good investment? No.
New construction. Right.
Purchasing new construction at an artificially deflated interest rate that the mortgage lender is offering on an adjustable rate mortgage. Specific to this situation, no, I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a good idea for an equity play.
Yeah.
And I would love to be wrong. I would love for 7 years from now, this buyer is selling the house for $740,000, walking away with a ton of equity. I would love that.
Yeah.
But practically and pragmatically, that purchaser on the other end 7 years from now is going to have to use whatever interest rate is floating in that market. So if the interest rates are 7%, that's what they're going to have to qualify based on. They're not going to qualify based on your 4% interest rate. Yeah. And so it's a little bit challenging from an equitable position, but if that's your goal, I love Louis Vuitton too. Let's help you buy it.
What about building custom versus going to like a Lennar community or Ryan Homes, for example?
So it comes 100% down to cost. Most custom homes are more expensive than these. I'm not going to be insensitive, but like, let's just call them track homes or like community development homes, like where they're developing a whole community. Yep. And you have option A, B, C, D, E, right? So most custom homes are going to be a little bit more expensive, but custom homes also come with some benefits, right? You get to pick the lot, you get to pick the location, you get to pick a lot more of your finishes, and it can be hyper personal to you. So if you want that dog wash station in your mudroom and put your washer and dryer downstairs, good, have fun. Right. But it is a little bit more affordable. Where I think a custom home can pay off is in how you use it. So if you want to finish your basement for a motorcycle showcase space, go for it, Christian. I think you're crazy.
Okay, bring it on the back.
But if that works for you and that's what you want, great.
Yeah.
You just might have to make some alterations before it can sell for its highest value.
Right.
That's all.
Right.
Custom homes can be really amazing, but many people will make mistakes building a custom home as it pertains to resale value.
Right. I agree with that. And when it doesn't pertain to resale value, I think there is benefit and some sort of, I don't know, warm and fuzzy about doing something custom to your home that you want, that you're going to live with and you're going to enjoy. So as long as you have that perspective as well, if you're trying to take on some sort of custom work, build a custom home, like if you're happy with it, great. We also, again, talk to a real estate agent about what this might look like in the long term. Is someone going to want that dog washing station? Is someone going to want the motorcycle room or whatever, right? So
and perhaps we're not even talking about eliminating these spaces, but making them less personalized. Dog washing station, awesome. Let's spend a little bit of money on it. Let's create it. Let's make it exactly what you need without buying Carrera Italian imported porcelain from under the sea where a sailboat crashed in the Atlantic. Like, we don't need that.
If you can make it a little versatile.
Yeah.
Like
dog walk station and motorcycle showcase.
There you go, right? 2 birds with 1 stone right there. But I'm thinking, like, you know, if I were to actually bring my motorcycle around back and still have like it on a stand, put it on some sort of flooring that wouldn't be damaged, right? But then still have my den and everything set up. Like, I literally just take my motorcycle off the stand outside, and I still have a normal basement.
Right? Functional.
Functional. That's probably a better word than versatile, right? But I wouldn't go.
When it comes to custom home building is a wildly expensive adventure. It is not something that you should endeavor to do because it gives you 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms for your kids, right? Custom is a complete, I want to call it a bucket list. Yeah, it's a lifestyle, right? When you go custom, if you buy really low-end plumbing finishes, and you try and buy really low-end kitchen cabinets, and you try and have fewer windows than the architect or designer specs out for the building, all of a sudden, what is the resale value? Who's going to want to buy that? Right? And so real custom homes, we've got a custom home builder that builds an amazing $3 million value house, right? So if you want a $3 million house, great, but don't try and squeeze a $3 million house into a $1.5 million budget.
Right.
And same thing, if you want a $990,000 custom home, don't squeeze it into a $625,000 budget, right? I personally believe that we as Americans are just a little bit spoiled. We believe that everything needs to be new and fancy and flashy. And if you go to Europe, if you go to South America, you go to other continents, you go to other countries, you go to other cultures, and you really experience how they live with things from 300 years ago, it's awe-inspiring. And we're like, this is 20 years old, and I don't want it.
But I also look at like the maintenance that they do, the upkeep, like they care for their stuff.
Right.
You know, and I feel like a lot of people here in America, just in general, don't have that same mindset of taking care of it, making it look good. Hey, this is my space. Like, I'm going to look out for it. I'll tell you, the seller that I met with last week, we're selling a house down in La Plata. This dude for 30 years kept his property pristine. Like, you never would have guessed someone lived in it for 30 years at all. Even his primary bathroom, 30 years of showering, using it, all that, you never would have guessed. His hardwood floors don't even have a scratch in them, dude. They're glistening. It is incredible.
That's wild.
Yeah.
All right. So you mentioned that it's a resale, right? 30 years old, resale, La Plata, Maryland. If there was a genuine opportunity in real estate right now, right? Like call it 2026, the revamped 2011, right? Real opportunity to buy low, sell high in the future. What places, what properties, what type, what location, what would you recommend?
We're gonna be repeating from the last show.
Which?
The last podcast
What did you say?
I would just buy in my community.
Oh.
Or like I love Rogers Forge too, dude.
Yeah.
Like again, the house I walked into today, if I was in the market today, I would buy that home.
So you're thinking more established communities that have a strong foundation.
Hold their value, strong foundation.
Lower risk, higher reward. Like
correct. Like
expected return is what you're kind of going for.
I'm not taking...
Anywhere you could take a little bit more risk and get a greater return?
A little bit more risk. In the Baltimore area?
In our whole marketplace.
Let's say state.
Little bit more risk, a little greater return.
I don't know. I look at risk. I don't know. You take in all assets of buying a house, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are really obsessed with location.
Mm-hmm.
That could tie into schools. That could tie into commute.
Yeah.
That could people are into certain homes. So then I'm trying to think of like, I don't know. How do you define the risk? Like where would I see risk? And I don't think I would buy in Baltimore City just because of taxes. Taxes are only going to go up.
Okay.
Right. I look at Southern Maryland. I love Calvert County, but I don't really define that as risky.
Okay.
You have great schools. You can commute to DC fairly easily.
So not going to turn around a lot. You're not going to get a huge return either.
It'll still keep growing. And I think the $900,000 house at some point is going to be a $1.4 million home.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are like Calvert County to a certain degree is turning into like a DC suburb.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I don't think it has risk. You go into Charles County and 301 and 5 where that connects, going down to Waldorf, it's just a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
You go to deep Southern Maryland and just the values aren't typically there because you're not near as much.
Right. I'm trying to think while you're talking, by the way, and I haven't come up with anything.
Right.
The talk amongst my clients is on the other side of the Key Bridge. When the Key Bridge gets rebuilt, there will be more demand. And the other side, obviously, being both sides, right? So whichever side you don't live on, the other side is going to be valuable.
I can get behind that. I just look at it as like, when is that going to happen?
I agree.
Because the bridge needs to be built, but then also, are the homes there just immediately going to shoot up in value?
Right.
Or are they going to start building more homes, which some of that northern side of the bridge does have development, but it's not...
The place that I see, and I don't know how true this is, but I'm wondering how much like Bowie is going to be increasing over the next 10 years. It's a budding DC suburb. It's an approachable price range. It's a little rough in certain areas, but you can get into a real community that's going through a revitalization for $300,000.
Yeah.
And I always think that $900,000 house in Southern Maryland that could be 1.2. Yeah, totally. I agree. But then it takes a lot of luxury buyers to make that happen. A $300,000 house becoming a $400,000 house takes a normal family.
I just also think a lot of people are starting to put more thought into what they're valuing for a home.
But presumably you're creating the value. The issue is, of course, school districts are challenging. Of course, communities are challenging. You know, of course, all of our fair housing considerations. But I just think, where can I get into an approachable home, quality, something that I can maintain over the next 10 or 20 years that's going to give me the greatest return? And it might be Bowie, honestly, because I see it as a working class community that's only growing and developing more and more and more.
Yeah.
The more they're doing building, the more there's more people, the more desire for larger spots. I don't know. It's an interesting perspective.
I mean, it is not... in terms of location, it's almost similar to Laurel's, where you can get to DC and Baltimore.
Bowie, Laurel, all the same.
You know?
Yep. Same to me.
But Yeah.
Voila.
I don't know.
Well,
that's actually a good point, though.
Wrapping up, I think there's a lot of thoughts about the tariffs, about what's going on in the market as it talks about construction materials and improvement values and things that maybe you might want to do in the future. You should be consulting a real estate agent because, as we talked about, you could do this without us, but if you're looking for somebody to give you that advice, and I do think, like Christian said, you should be talking to someone from start to finish. We could certainly help you out. You're always more than welcome to reach out. If you do have questions about this or any other podcasts, reach out to me on Instagram at michael.frank_____, or you can always reach out to us on our website at frankoliverco.com. And Christian?
You guys can find me on Instagram at Christian the Deadhead.
Come
if you check me out
bro.
soon enough, you can see our stories from Goose.
What's up, guys? Thanks for watching. For more information on the housing market, Real Estate 101, how you can leverage your position in today's market, and so much more, click on the link below. If you like this video or have a burning real estate question you'd like us to answer, leave us a comment and let us know. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode, and we'll see you again real soon.